Hi everyone, it's Franca from Moss Tutoring sharing another SATS reasoning paper. So this is from the 2022 year and it's paper 3 and it's another reasoning paper. So this is just come along with me as we walk through the paper and have a go at doing it together. I've also put a link to this paper in the comments if you would like to, or no, in the description, if you would like to do the paper alongside me. Or you can just use a piece of paper and a pencil. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Right, so a bit of a disclaimer, I probably will make mistakes as I go along, but I'll always pull myself up on them and then correct them as I go along. So let's get started. So you'll see on the first page that you'll get the boxes to fill in your information, which your teacher will let you know how to do that. And then we'll find the instructions page. So it says you must not use a calculator to answer any questions in the test. You have 40 minutes to complete this test. Follow the instructions for each question. Work as quickly and as carefully as you can. If you need to do working out, you can use the space around the question. Don't write over any barcodes because the examiners will need those for their examiny stuff for their admin, so please don't write on those. And some questions will have a method box like this, one with all the squares in it, and make sure you write your answer in the big square there, big box, big rectangle there. So for these questions, you may get a mark for showing your method. It'll even tell you, show your method. So please make sure that you write that you show a method, just to gain, even if it's just 1 mark, you might get a mark just for showing your method, even if you get the answer wrong. So if you can't do a question, go on to the next one. You can always come back to it later if you have time. So if you find that you're spending far too long on one question and you've still got about 20 minutes left to go, come back to it and then have another go a bit later on, because there might be some questions that you can pick up marks on a bit easier further around the rest of the paper. So just make sure you do that. But if you do finish before the end, go back and check your work. And the marks under each line at the side of the page tells you the number of marks available for each question. And here's an example of one of those barcodes that you shouldn't be writing on, okay? So don't write on them. Right, so let's make a start then at question 1. So here's question 1. Pause the video and have a little go. Okay, how did you get on? So it says here is a drawing of a hexagonal prism. How many faces does the prism have? So obviously it's not going to have a smiley face or anything on it, but a face on a 3D shape is basically a shape that makes the shape up. So here would have a hexagon here, have a hexagon on the other side, and it's made up of some other rectangles here. So they're the faces. So let's see how many faces it actually has. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that we can actually see. And then underneath we'll have 5, 6, 7. These ones, imagine there's some rectangles going around the other side there. And then count the hexagonal face on the end to make a total of 8. So well done if you got 8. Okay, so let's take a look at question 2. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, so how did you get on? So it says here are 6 number cards. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Use all 6 cards to complete the 3 multiplications below. Okay, so we've got 24, so I can do, let's go 3 times 8. Let's go with that. If not, if we think actually, oops, no, why my mouse is not showing the 10. There we go. You can always cross these out, and if you want to, you can always change these a bit later on. Okay, we've got 28, so we could use 7 times 4. And then for the last one, I can see I've got 5 and 6 there, so I could use 5 and 6. Now, thankfully, I haven't had to go over these again. I haven't had to swap some out, so they're the ones that I would use for that question. Well done if that's what you got for that one as well. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry that my 7 here looks like a 2. Okay, right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, let's take a look at question 3. So pause the video and have a little go. Okay, how did you get on? So it says Olivia buys a banana, an apple and a bag of nuts. She pays with three 50p coins. What is her change? So we can see the banana is 30p, the apple is 45p, and the nuts are 60p. Okay, so let's work this out. So what I might do is actually add these two together. So quite a nice, easy ones to add together. So that'll make 90p. So always look out for things that are really easy to work out, just making things a little bit quicker for yourself. And then I'm going to add the 45p together. So that would make 135, which is £1.35. And then, because 350p's are £1.50 or 150p, we could always do 150 take away 135, which do it all in pennies. And actually the question is asking for it in pennies. So let's do it that way. And then, so 10 take away 5 is 5, 4 take away 3 is 1 in the tens, and 1 take away 1 in the hundreds is 0. So our answer must be 15p. So well done if that's the answer that you got. Okay, let's move on to question 4. Okay, question 4. Pause the video to have a look at this question. Okay, so how did you get on? So we need to draw 4 lines to match each equivalent fraction to its equivalent decimal. Okay, so we're not going to just draw 4 lines, like just randomly. We need to make sure that we draw 4 lines. So each one of these will be worth 1 line, so that'll make 4 lines in total. Okay, so let's have a look. So a half is 0.5, 3/10 is 0.3, 3/4 is 0.75, and 3/100 would be 0.03. So well done if that's what you got as well. Okay, let's take a look at question 5. So pause the video to have a little go yourself. Okay, how did you get on? So some children vote for their favourite ice cream flavour. How many children vote for strawberry? So we've been told the other flavours and how many numbers of children, the number of children who voted for those. So now we need to work out what strawberry is. So we've got a total, which is 402. We've got 38, 154 and 87. So let's add those 3 numbers together and take it away from 402. So let's do that. So I've got 154, add 87, add 38. Let's crack on. So 4 add 7 is 11, add 8 is 19. 5 add 3, we actually, I can see a bit of a number bond here going on. We've got 5 and 3 is 8, add 8 is 16. So again, looking for ways to make things quicker for yourself. So 5 and 3 is 8, add 8 is 16, add the 1 is 17. Then add the 1 and the 1 in the hundreds to make 279. So that's how many children are voted altogether so far without the strawberry. So let's now work out how many children voted for strawberry by taking 279 away from 402. So let's do that. So 2 take away 9 and the ones we can't do. We can't exchange from the 0 and the 10s. So let's go to the hundreds and just do some exchanging. So 12 take away 9 in the ones is 3. 9 take away 7 in the ones is 2. And then 3 take away 2, sorry, in the hundreds is 1. So that must be that 123 children voted for strawberry. So well done if that's the answer that you got for that one. Okay, moving on to question 6. So what I'm going to do is, because actually I should be all right. There we go. Hopefully that's quite visible. So it says here, this chart shows the range of temperatures each day during 1 week from Monday to Friday. So I'm just going to raise this up a bit, because now that I've read the first bit of the question, you should be able to now pause that and have a little go at doing the question yourself. Right, let's see how we got on. So what was the lowest temperature? So I can see that the furthest down that these bars go, I can see they're going up in 2s visibly, but in between each one must be another 1. So that must be -7 for this question. Okay, And what is the difference between the highest and lowest temperatures on Wednesday? So let's take a look at Wednesday. So we start from what the starting temperature would be here. So that would be -5. And the finishing temperature would be on this line. So that would be 3. So the difference in temperature between those two would be 8 degrees. So well done if that's what you got. Okay, time for question 7. It's a 2-mark question. It says show your method, so make sure that you're showing a method. Even if you get the wrong answer here, you can still get a method, a mark for your method. Okay, so pause the question, have a little go. Right, so it says one Saturday afternoon, a total of 234,869 people attended 3 rugby matches. So 80,978 people attended match 1, 72,319 people attended match 2. How many people attended match 3? It's quite similar to the one that we did, so a couple of questions we've just done actually, where you've got the total amount and then 2 other amounts that you're going to take away, that you need to add together to take away from the total amount. So it's a nice 2-step question. So what you could do, 234 take away 8, this number here and this number here, or you could just add these 2 together and then take it away from that. There's 2 different ways you could do it, and depending on how much time that you've got at this point of the exam, of the test anyway. So I'm just going to add them both together because I think that works better for my brain. So 8, 9, 7, 9, and then 8 there on the end. Then 72, 3, 1, 9. So can you see that I'm using the boxes to help me line up my digits correctly as well? So I would highly recommend doing that. Okay, so I've got 8 add 9 is 17 in the ones. 7 add 1 is 9 in the tens. 9 add 3 is 12 in the hundreds. In the thousands, we've got 0 add 2 add 1 is 3. And then 8 add 7 is 15 in the 10,000s column. Okay, so now we've got 153,297. We're going to take that away from 234,869. So 2, 3, 4, 8, 6, 9, 1, 5, 3, 2, 9, 7. We're going to subtract that to find out how many people attended match 3. So 9 take away 7, the ones, is 2. 6 take away 9, you can't do, so let's just go and exchange that from there. 16 take away 9 is 7. 7 take away 2 is 5. 4 take away 3 is 1. 3 take away 5 we can't do, so we're going to exchange from here. 13 take away 5 is 8. And then 1 take away 1 in the 100,000s is 0. So that must mean that our number that we need here is 881,572. So 81,572. So well done if that's the answer that you got for that one. Okay, question 8. Pause the video and have a little go. Okay, so we've got the number 7,546, and it says round this number to the nearest 1,000, nearest 100, and to the nearest 10. So the nearest 1,000 would be 8,000. So I'm going to write these in the boxes. So the nearest 100 would be 7,500. And so the nearest 10 would be 7,550. So well done if that's the answer that you got. Okay, time for question 9. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, let's see how we got on. So, well, 1,000 times 416 equals 10 times something. So let's work out what this one is first before we can work out what this one might be. So we're literally just going to add 3 zeros to 416. So it's going to be 10 times that. So that should be, if we take off one of the zeros, so we're just dividing it by 10. So it would be 4, 1, 6, 0, 0. And if we multiplied this by 10, we're just going to literally add an extra 0 on the end to make the same number here. So if that's the answer that you got, well done. Okay, time for question 10. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, how'd you get on? So it says Adam buys 4 pens and a ruler and pays £4.75 altogether. Jack buys 2 pens and pays £1.98 altogether. How much does a ruler cost? So we can maybe use Jack's purchase of £1.98 for 2 pens to work out how much a ruler might be. So if Jack has bought 2 pens and paid £1.98 altogether, we could just do, bear with me, 198 times 2. So let's do it all in pennies first, just take all the decimal points out. 198 times 2, because that tells how much 4 pens is worth. So 8 times 2 is 16. 9 times 2 is 18, add the 1 is 19. And 1 times 2 is 2, add the 1 is 3. So it's £3.96 for the 4 pens. So if we take £3.96 away from £4.75, so you can always do it in pennies if you want to start off with. £3.96. So 5 take away 6 is, well, we can't do that, so let's exchange that from here. 15 take away 6 is 9. 6 take away 9, we can't do that, so let's exchange that from here. So 16 take away 9 is 7, and then 3 take away 3 in the hundreds would be 0. So that would be 79p for a ruler. So well done if that's the answer that you got. Okay, let's take a look at question 11. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, how did you get on? So it says Ali chooses a whole number. When she multiplies her number by 4, the answer is less than 100. When she multiplies her number by 5, the answer is greater than 100. Write a number that Ali could have started with. So I'm thinking that maybe if we start with numbers in the 20s, you know, if I multiply it by 4, it's going to be something in the 80s. If I multiply it by 5, it's going to be greater than 100, isn't it? So we can't use 20 because if I multiply that by 5, that would be 100. I need to get 100. I need to get a number greater than 100. But it would work if it was 20 times 4, because that is less than 100. But it needs to work for both of those statements. So you could go for 21. Because if you multiply that by 4, you'd get 84, which is less than 100. If you multiply it by 5, you'll get 105. So, yep, that's greater than 100. You could have 22, 23, or even 24. So if you choose any of those numbers, you'll get yourself a nice, easy mark for that one. So I'm going to put in 22, just because I can, for that one. So well done if you've got any of those numbers at home. Okay, let's take a look at question 12. So it says, William says the rule for this diagram. Find the difference between the numbers in the circles. Double this to make the number in the square. Okay, so pause the video to have a little go. So what I'm going to do is, because this, scroll down a little bit, you can always rewind the video, just remind yourself of the rule. I'm going to pop that here, just so that you've got it in front of you. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, so how did you get on? So the first one would be 136. And the second one would be 310. Or this one could be minus 90. So they'll take either one of those two. So well done if those are the answers that you got. Okay, let's look at question 13. So write the missing fraction to make this addition correct. Pause the video to have a little go. Okay, how'd you get on? So it might be that you might have converted them all to 6, and then done 5. So if you make 5 6 and then 2/3 into 6. So let's do that. So we can do, that is now 4 6. Okay, got the 5 6 anyway. And then, because we know that we can only add numerators that are the same, properly. So we know that that must be 1/6 equals 5/6. So the answer for this one must be 1/6. So well done if that's what you got there. Okay, let's look at question 14. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, how'd you get on? So it says Jack hires a hall for a party. This formula is used to work out the total cost. Total cost equals £15 booking fee plus £12 per hour. What is the total cost of hiring the hall from 6 p.m. until 5 p.m? So we know that between 6 and 11 p.m. it's 5 hours. So I would times £12.50 by 5 and then add £15 to get an answer of £77.50. So well done if that's what you got. Okay, let's take a look at question 15. Stefan stands in the centre of this square, not actual size. Stefan is facing towards F. He turns anti-clockwise to face D. What angle does Stefan turn through? Pause the video to have a little go. Okay, so we know that he's standing facing this way. And he's going to turn anti-clockwise to go face towards D that way. Okay, so I can see that we've got a right angle there, so that must be 90 degrees. Okay, so well done if that's what you got for that one. Okay, let's go to part 2 of this question. It says, Stefan is now facing towards D. He turns 3 right angles clockwise. Write the letter he faces after the turn. So pause the video and have a little go. Okay, so we know that he's facing D. Okay, so that's where his starting point is. So he's going 3 angles clockwise. That means we need to go this direction now. So we've got 1 right angle here. So now he's facing back to F again, like he was in the first question. Then he's facing. So that means we're turning. So that means we've gone 2 letters. Then we're going to do another right angle. So that's 2 right angles. And then we're going to turn another right angle this way. So they're a bit wonky, these right angle diagrams. So now we know they're facing angle B. Okay, and we just need to write this letter in here to get that one marked. So well done if you got B. Okay, let's take a look at question 16. So pause the video, have a little go. Okay, so how did you get on? So it says part of this 10 by 10 grid is shaded. Tick the fractions that represent the shaded part of the grid. So we've got 1/4, 2/5, 4/10, 6/10, and 41/100. Okay, so each one of these represents 1/100th, doesn't it? 'Cause it's 1 out of 100 is what 1 square represents. So we've got 4 columns of 10 that have been coloured in. So that must mean we've got 41/100. So straight away I can tick off this one, 41/100. Okay. I know that if I simplify that down, if I divide both these by 10, I'm going to get 4/10. And I can even make this simplified even more if I divide both of these by 2 to make 2/5. Okay, so well done if that's the answer that you got as well. Okay, let's take a look at question 17. So pause the video and have a little go. Okay, so how did you get on? So I did this on my whiteboard because I needed a bit more space. So I've worked out all of the different, oh, can you see? Just about, there we go. So I worked out that each of those would need 4, need 4 of each straw, basically, for the height, length, and the width. And then just add them all together to get a total of 108 centimetres. So I need to write 108 centimetres into the box here. So well done if that's what you got yourself. Okay, let's take a look at question 18. So it says here, the full price of a t-shirt is £15. The price is reduced by 30%. What is the reduced price? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, so how did you get on? So 10% would be £1.50. Okay, so and then times that by 3. Okay, so to make our 30%, sorry. So 0 times 3 is 0. 15 times 3, 15 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, and then 1 times 3 is 3, add the 1 is 4. So it'll be £4.50 is 30%. So we're going to take £4.50 from £15. So let's put that into money. So can you see again, I'm using each square individually to do that, to line up my digits correctly. So 0 take 0 is 0, 0 take 5 we can't do, so I'm just going to take that from there, exchange it from there. 10 take away 5 is 5, decimal point. 4 take away 4 is 0, and 1 take away 0, you can always put a 0 in the placeholder, is 1. So the new price would be £10.50 after the 30% reduction. So well done if that's what you got. Okay, let's take a look at question 19. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's see how you got on. So it says, Jack says, when you square a prime number, the answer only has 2 factors. Explain why Jack is not correct. Well, I'm not actually going to write an explanation in this box because there are so many possible ones that you could get. So well done if you got any of these. So you could have, it has 3 factors, the prime number, 1 and the square of the prime number. The prime number has 2 factors. The squared prime number will be divisible by 1 itself and the prime number. All prime numbers squared have 3 factors, or you could have some explanations that give a counterexample, such as 5 is a prime. 5 squared equals 25. 25 has 3 factors, 1, 5 and 25 and not 2. You could have 7 squared has more than 2 factors, like 1, 7 and 49. You could have 121, give that as an example, because that's equals 1 times 121 equals 11 times 11. So that has 3 factors. You could have 3 squared equals 9, has 3 factors. So 9 has 1, 9 and 3. And you could even have another one to do with 5 squared equals 25. Factor 25 equals 1, 5 and 25. So again, that has 3 factors. And so basically all squared primes have 3 factors. So you could even have 6 squared, which would have 1, 6 and 36, for example. So well done if you got any of those answers there. Okay, so let's take a look at question 20. So pause the video to have a little go. Okay, how'd you get on? So it says this table shows how many people finished the New York Marathon in each of the first 4 decades it was held. So we've got the decades down the side here, total number who finished. So what is the mean number of people who finished the marathon per decade? Round your answer to the nearest 100. So what you'd need to do is add all these numbers up and then divide them by 4. Okay, and then round that answer to the nearest 100. So when I added them all up and then divided it by 4, I got 207,259.75. So that's the exact answer, but we need to round it to the nearest 100 now. So that one, round to the nearest 100 would be 207,300. So well done if that's the answer that you got. Okay, time for the final question. So well done for getting this far. Pause the video, have a little go. Okay, how'd you get on? So it says these 2 rectangles are identical. The length of each rectangle is 3 times its width. What are the coordinates of point P? Okay, so that would be, for this one, 6. So if we go along here, that one roughly about 6. And this would be 3 because the width is 3. So I'll pop in 6 and then 3. So well done if that's the answer that you got. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful in any way and it's helped you with your revision. Maybe you've done a few questions a day, maybe you've done the whole thing in one go. Well done for sticking it out all the way through. Good luck with everything, and if you would like to book future sessions with me, we do have some availability coming up, so please let me know, and thank you so much for watching.